Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Tuesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for our upcoming system here, how much rain we're going to get, how much wind we're going to get as well, and we'll look at the forecast for beyond that system as well. So starting here with the satellite imagery, you can see that storm offshore there of Vancouver Island. Really nice looking storm for this time of year here. You can see it swirling right there, and then it has this long trailing front, and that is what is going to bring us rain and wind to Western Washington here going over the next day or so. You can see that front is offshore right now, some clouds starting to move in associated with it. We have some areas of low clouds across the lowlands this morning, otherwise mostly clear to start the day. Some areas may have a little bit of fog, but we will have clouds and rain moving in as we go through the day today, so we'll take a look at that in a moment. You can see the radar image right now, yesterday's system moving out over parts of eastern Washington, Idaho, and Montana, and then we have some rain associated with the outer part of this next system already starting to move into the area. Taking a look at the European model, looking at the overall pattern here, you can see that deep troughing offshore, deepest troughing we've had offshore in quite a while. That is helping to bring in rounds of showers, and you can see as it just kind of hangs out here, that storm weakens as we go through the rest of this week, but it just hangs out and brings multiple rounds of rain into western Washington all the way through Thursday and Friday. And then you can see by the time we get to Friday into Saturday, we have this big ridge building off to the west, and that continues to strengthen and move to be just north of us there as we go into the weekend. So we're likely going to have some sunnier days with some warmer temperatures, maybe getting back up into the 70s there as we go into this weekend. So maybe some really nice weather for the Mariners playoff games here at T-Mobile Park. And we'll have the roof open and stuff like that for those games. With this ridging here, going to keep us nice and sunny going into Sunday and Monday for sure, possibly Saturday as well. So you can see that ridging there as we get to the end of the week. Taking a look at what's going on with the precipitation. You have that storm offshore, 974 millibar low on the European. That's pretty nice for this time of year. You see that front moving into the area as we go through the afternoon and evening. That rain moves onto the Washington and Oregon coasts, reaches the lowlands by the time we get to about 5 to 8 p.m. You can see how that storm is still spinning offshore there, just starting to weaken and move south. That rain continues into the lowlands through Wednesday morning. Showery convergence zone possible. More rounds of showers going in to Wednesday evening, Thursday morning as the storm rapidly fills in and weakens, but just kind of hangs out with those areas of moisture. Rain ends by the time we get to Friday morning. We may get a brief little impulse there, bringing a few more showers as we go through the afternoon, evening Friday into very, very early Saturday morning there. And then you can see as we go into Saturday afternoon, maybe some showers in the mountains. Otherwise, we dry out. And then by Sunday and Monday, we are dry with sunny skies there. Taking a look at what we can expect in terms of the simulated radar here. This is the high-resolution rapid refresh model. Here's noon, and you can see that rain getting onto the Washington and Oregon coast by noon to 1 p.m. It starts to get into Olympia by about 2, Tacoma by 3, Seattle by 4, and then the rest of the region all is overspread with that rain by 5 p.m. And then that initial round of rain moves out of the area by about 6 to 7 p.m. And then we have a lot of post-frontal showers here, and you can see those move through the area all the way through Wednesday. Look at some of these potential thunderstorms on the coast there. You can see some of those moving onshore early Wednesday morning. That continues bringing maybe some heavy showers at times into the Seattle area. You can see that continuing through Wednesday morning there. More showers. Look at some of these ones coming on by Hoquiam. There definitely potential for some thunderstorms, even briefly rotating showers with water spouts and stuff like that. That happens out here this time of year. You can see this areas of rain, heavy showers continuing all the way through the day Wednesday. Coverage not exactly certain. You can see Wednesday night maybe some more showers moving through the area, and that just continues all the way into Thursday morning. This forecast ends at 5 a.m. Thursday, and you can see there's still a lot of showers moving into the area. And this forecast, high resolution, showing about a quarter inch to a half inch of precipitation across the lowlands and most of western Washington with the rain and some of those weakening showers that move through. But take a look at the coast, 1 to 2 inches of rain there, maybe a little bit more on the north coast. Olympics and the Bear Gulch Fire getting over 2 inches of rain, which is really good to see, and even the Cascades picking up 1 to 4 inches depending on where you are. Also pretty marked rain shadow there. You can see that over Whidbey Island and parts of the San Juans as well. Taking a look at the European model, if we play this through here, you can see it definitely shows more rain than the high resolution rapid refresh that we just looked at. We can put this all the way out through Saturday, and you can see Again, 1 to 2.5 inches on the coast, up to 4 inches in the Olympics, 2 inches at the Bear Gulch fire, and then take a look at that rain shadow over parts of areas northwest of the Olympic Peninsula. Then look at Vancouver, BC, and northern Whatcom County. There, over an inch of rain most likely. The Cascades getting 1 to 2 inches, and then look at the lowlands. You're from Everett down toward Portland. You're looking at about 4/10 of an inch to an inch of rain, especially with that potential convergence zone there between Tacoma and Everett, and then you can see the Kitsap Peninsula getting 1.5 inches of rain there as well. So a decent amount of rain here to start October. Will dry out after this. One thing of a little bit of concern though is that the Sugarloaf Fire and Labor Mountain Fire don't even get a 1/4 inch of rain, so they will likely remain active if we get dry again. But the Wildcat Fire there near Mount Rainier should get about a 1/2 inch of rain, maybe a little bit less. Won't put it out, but will really help it. And then, of course, the Bear Gulch Fire, likely it'll be very hard for it to produce any big smoke plumes and stuff after this, getting 2 inches of rain and some much cooler temperatures and higher humidity for multiple days. Taking a look at a higher resolution model, the national blend of models here, showing a very similar thing in terms of rain for the lowlands areas from Portland all the way to Bellingham, about a 1/2 inch of rain through Sunday there. And then you can see on the coast 1 to 3 inches of rain, most in the Olympic Mountains and on the north coast there, with all those showers moving through. Really good rain to get this area back up to a little bit more toward normal, though we're still running very below normal. And then you can see in the Cascades about 1 to 2 inches of rain, but only on the west side, and those fires on the east side barely get any rain at all, unfortunately. So we have to watch that very closely as well. And then taking a look at wind gusts, we're going to have some winds Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. Those are going to be strongest on the coast. You can see the European model showing winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour along the coast, 25 to 35 miles per hour in the lowlands. And then you can see from Whidbey Island northward here, the European model showing winds gusting 35 to 40 miles per hour. But there is a potential for this to be a little bit stronger. Taking a look at the high resolution rapid refresh model here, you can see it does show some of those stronger areas of winds and some of those showers in the front moving into the area. And then you can see on the coast, this model's going for winds more like 45 to 55 miles per hour, especially on the north coast. And then take a look at what it's showing for most of western Washington, gusts of 35 to 45 miles per hour, likely a bit overdone for areas Olympia southward. And then you can see in the Puget Sound area right there, including Seattle, 35 to 40 mile per hour gusts. If this did come to fruition Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we could potentially have some areas of tree damage and power outages just because the trees are still fully loaded. And then going from Seattle northward there, and especially Everett north, you can see those southeasterly winds to the northwest interior gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour. There are some wind advisories up for some of these areas and gale warnings and stuff like that, and that would be because of these gusty winds up to 50 miles per hour here. So something to watch as well. And also there could be some big waves off the coast as well. Nothing extraordinary in terms of what we usually get during the winter season, but the first big wave event of the year with 14 to 18 foot breakers potentially across parts of the north and central coast. And then taking a look at smoke, just want to point this out real quick, that with all these systems moving through, much less smoke coming off the fires there. You can see that's the extent of the smoke plumes as we go through this evening, and then they weaken, and that's not very much smoke, which is good to see. And then going into Wednesday, again, very little smoke off the fires in eastern Washington. So even though they won't get a lot of rain, they will diminish in terms of their activity right now. You can see, looking at the surface smoke, a little bit more surface smoke right near the fires, but again, nothing compared to what we've been seeing where all of eastern Washington is covered in surface smoke. And you can see again Wednesday as well, a little bit of surface smoke, but nothing compared to what we've been seeing the last few days. And you can see when we look at the fires there, the only thing really of note is some of the expanse of the Wildcat Fire here. Look at how much further it's burned past Goose Prairie up toward 410 and American River and stuff like that. So thankfully it is staying a little bit up on the ridge and hopefully not getting into Goose Prairie too much, although there is still a very high threat to some of the residences in there, which have been evacuated for quite some time now. And then you can see how it is continuing to burn to the northeast. It's up to 14,000 acres. That was an increase. And then you can see the Labor Mountain Fire still 35,300. Sugarloaf Fire approaching 40,000 acres. So these are still burning. They're still going to be pretty active, especially if we dry out again, which we likely will with that ridge building going into the weekend. So we'll have to watch and see what happens with these fires. Hopefully the cooler and somewhat wetter weather over the next few days can help lower some of the activity on those fires before it gets dry again. And then taking a look at air quality, this is what we've been wanting to see for a while, that big improvement. Look at that, most of eastern Washington here in the good category, except the valleys around Wenatchee there and Yakima, where some of that surface smoke is still blowing in, but hopefully this will start to clear out through the day. You can see even the areas around some of the fires near Leavenworth and stuff like that finally back in the good category. And then, of course, very nice air across western Washington. So hopefully all of the state will start to get some cleaner air as we go to the next couple days with these systems moving through. You can see eastern Washington, though, doing a whole lot better than it has over the last few days. And then temperatures, you can see today, mid 60s, maybe some low 70s across the lowlands. We cool down Wednesday, down into the mid to upper 60s. Same thing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then with that ridge starting to build on Sunday, we go up a little bit back to the upper 60s on Sunday. And then Monday and Tuesday, you can see upper 60s, low 70s across western Washington. Maybe some mid to upper 70s around Portland, and even the coast getting into the upper 60s there Tuesday. So you can see when that ridge is there, we do warm up a little bit, but then we start to cool down going into about a week plus from now. So we'll continue watching that. Just know it will likely warm up going into this weekend and early next week. And then those low temperatures at night as well will cool down with these systems moving through. And then we get some cooler air as that ridge starts to build in a little bit. You can see Sunday morning likely in the mid 40s for most of western Washington, upper 30s for parts of the Cascades, including where the fires are, which is really good to see. You can see that continues again going into Monday and Tuesday mornings as well. So it'll be good to have some of those cooler temperatures to bring down the fires a bit, make it feel like fall out there with some lows in the low to mid 40s across western Washington. Also, if you want to stay warm with those lows coming up, be sure to check out the Western Washington Weather merch store. Get some cool hoodies and sweatshirts and stuff like that. Link to that is in the description below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Western Washington Weather and follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group and my Twitter and Blue Sky accounts for all the latest updates on the weather moving through. So stay tuned. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.